Monsters. No countdown today. I just decided to go with some chill music, kind of get us into the mood. Welcome to Monstro Mondays. I'm your monster hostess, Smiley Monster, and today we're getting Phygital. We are celebrating that awesome fusion of digital and physical art in the Web3 space. And it's also Memorial Day here in the United States where I live. And I just wanted to say I'm very grateful for all who have gone before and currently serve in the armed forces to protect me, my family, my country. Just very grateful. And it's interesting, we did not plan this, but my special guest today, Val, is actually a veteran, a former combat medic in the U.S. Army. And she didn't mention it during our chat, but I just wanted to bring that up and just say thank you, Val. We appreciate you too. So let's take a look over in the comments and see who's here. Hey, Brown Eye, thank you very much for showing up and spending the time just to listen to what we have to say today and just sharing Monstro Mondays with us. Hey, Charlie Crusher. Yes, bless our troops. We are very grateful for them, and they dedicate a huge part of their lives, whether it's just a couple of years or a lifetime. And that is something we've talked about this before. Time is the one thing that you cannot reclaim. You don't get it back. So it's extremely valuable. And so I'm very grateful for those who spend their time doing something sacrificial for other people. Now, we could not have this episode today without our sponsor of the week. And this week's sponsor of the week is Blade's Crypto Canvas Creations. This is a perfect service for all your marketing needs. Are you tired of boring conventional marketing? Do you need art that screams innovation, edge, and a hint of what in the world is that? Well, look no further. Welcome to Blade's Crypto Canvas Creations. This is a totally revolutionary solution for all your marketing needs with a crypto twist. See, Blade's been trained on the most obscure corners of the internet to craft the perfect prompts. Oh, that's right. Whether you need a Picasso-inspired Bitcoin logo or a Dali-esque DeFi diagram, Blade's got you covered. You just sit back and watch the magic happen. Do you need NFT designs that'll make your crypto collectibles go viral? How about a blockchain banner that really decentralizes your brand? Well, Blade's AI churns out the most mind-blowing, blockchain-friendly art that you can imagine. Your whole crypto community will be like, wow, liking and sharing in no time. And are you worried about AI art looking too robotic? No worries. Blade guarantees no extra appendages unless you specifically ask for them. If you want a three-armed mascot holding your crypto coin, done. You want a unicorn with a blockchain mane? Done. Blade's AI art is so unique that people are going to remember it, whether you want them to or not. He is perfect for viral marketing campaigns, meme-worthy moments, and standout social media posts. Your brand is going to be the talk of the cryptoverse. So you can get started with just a mere 0.01 Bitcoin per masterpiece. It is the only investment that appreciates with laughs, likes, and ledgers. Sign up today and you can get a free NFT of his first ever piece, Crypto Cat with 3 tails trading tokens. I mean, it is the perfect blend of cute, quirky, and questionably valuable. I mean, listen to these testimonials. Satoshi Nakamoto said, if Blade had been around when I invented Bitcoin, I'd have asked him to design the white paper cover. I mean, it's that innovative. Vitalik Buterin said, Blade's art turned my smart contracts into smart masterpieces, truly decentralized creativity. And a random Twitter user says, I don't believe in AI art. Well, until I met Blade, now my crypto portfolio looks way cooler. So don't settle for the ordinary. Elevate your marketing game with Blade's Crypto Canvas Creations, because in the world of crypto, even your art should be decentralized. So thank you so much. We appreciate that. Now, this week, we are hosting another giveaway. So please subscribe to our channel if you haven't already. We have Moonbags launching Wednesday. We have all kinds of projects coming up and products. And so like this video, leave me a comment in the chat, live or down below. I love questions. I love suggestions. And then make sure you're a community member in our Discord. Let me drop that for you so that you can grab it. Okay, join our Discord. This is where the majority of the Monstro magic has happened and will continue to happen. So join, stay up to date, and we have a great time. We have a Discord where you can just drop in and say hi. We talk about obscure things. Today it was elephants, but it is a fun community and it's valuable. I think everybody who joins feels it's worth their time. So why don't you stop by and just say hi and see if it's the place for you. So I will take all of those comments and everybody who's participated, and I will run a grub fish. And Wednesday of this week, I will announce the winners. So good luck, everybody. And then I just wanted to give a shout out for our Monstro Moolah Madness. Now, this week we had a really great week, and I just wanted to run over there and pull this up and say, sorry guys, I dropped the ball on the slide on this one. It was a day. So in this last one, we had our 40th weekly payout made up of earnings from May. Oh, I'm going to drop that, guys. I will come back to that later. Okay, moving along. When you've had a Monday where you mess up, everybody has it, right? I have them too. Okay, I just want to tell everybody that this Wednesday we do have the launch of Moon Bags, our next product. So if you're looking for the meme coins that you're hoping will moon, but you don't want the hassle of trying to buy every single one or buy and sell or pay even the gas, Moon Bags has got you covered. So this Wednesday we are going to launch 8 different buckets, okay? And I just got the news that it's coming out at 1 p.m. Eastern. And just for $50 USDC, and there's no maximum, you can buy as many of these as you want. You can buy a bucket. And then after the sale is over, after 15 days, then V and his team is going to pick the different tokens that will go in and hold them. And the goal is to really hold this for a year. And at the end of the year, when it's sold, we're really hoping that you're going to see a really nice gain there. You know, maybe some of these are going to do 100x, which would be really cool. So don't forget to keep an eye on that and the announcement it launches. So it's time for Token Tingles. Good morning, monsters, and welcome to Token Tingles. It is week 6. We are officially halfway through season 2, and I just realized that I have been in this space for 2.5 years, and my friend said that that equates to like 10 years in traditional investing. So I feel really old, which is very cool. And I think V's been here longer, so he's older than me.
Not that much longer. We really got in, well, at least full time in 2021. So around March 2021, which I guess is 3 years and a little bit. So I'm not that much older than you now, at least in cyberspace.
Right. Why did you get into crypto and DeFi?
Well, I always been in tech and always like stuff that's on the cutting edge. But unfortunately, I've almost always also been broke all my life. So I found Bitcoin when it was like $55 way back when. I thought it was cool. I had no money to buy it, but I told a lot of people to, and they all laughed at it and nobody bought it. And fast forward many years. And yeah, I got in because an NFT project caught my eye and I started looking into NFTs and I said, oh, this is, you know, an industry that I could actually do a startup with no startup capital. Because there's not a high barrier, you know, as long as you cover the tech side, which I could. So that's kind of how I jumped in. I will say, you know, the first NFT I bought, I think, was on Wax, which was either Garbage Pail Kids or Street Fighter or something like that. But
that's fun.
Yeah, but yes, from the 80s nostalgia collectibles, then we got much more into the and I say we, I mean myself and Adam, because we got in at the same time when we decided to start Master Brews. And yeah, it was just the barrier was very high at the time. There wasn't a lot of info out. So we thought, hey, let's build a company that can onboard artists and get people in the space. And that's what we started as. And then it definitely took a few twists and turns and didn't end up that way. So.
Well, it's interesting because you see now a bull and a bear. Do you think this next bull is going to be similar to the previous one or something totally different?
Optimistically, I think it'll be way, way bigger. But I think it might be the last, ridiculously crazy one, because I think by the time the next bull comes, there will be a lot more regulations and laws and such in place. So this one might be the last, wild and crazy one where people can become millionaires overnight. Hasn't happened to us yet, but but it has for a lot of people. And I think this will be the last one for that type of stuff. But it'll also be, the last one where it's still a niche. And by the next cycle, I imagine it's going to be part of people's everyday lives, just like smartphones and just like the internet before it. So.
Right. And I love how you said yet, because we're going to get there.
Yeah.
So let's see how we did so far in our 6 weeks. So if you are on Team V, NAI is down still 58.08%. ALB is down just 13.66%. NLG is down 8.95%. Render is down 5.73%. And then Drift is up a whopping 56.47%, which is awesome. Good for that one.
Awesome. Again, awesome if I had any. I have all of the others except for Drift.
Oh. And then if you're Team Smiley, oh, my dot. STG is down 0.95%. Sand is up 0.60%. Mesa is down 18.55%. So it has recovered some from last week. IPMB is down just 1.90%. And then Ronin is up 17.32%, which is good.
I always laugh when I see Ronin's ticker because I just read it as Ron. Look at some guy named Ron.
It's better than Bob, huh?
I guess.
And then for Team Guest, Sensei picked BioFi, which is down 39.45%. Brood Mike picked Dog with Hat, which is down 1.83%. And then Oral picked Solsex, which is down 3.60%. But he is confident that he is going to win the whole thing. He said that on the video. So we'll see what happens.
Is he going to make a very large purchase of his pick?
I don't know. That's a good question. So I called it a halftime results, but halfway through, Team V is down 5.19%, Team Smiley is down 0.89%, and Team Guest is down 15.29%. So that's where we are so far.
Yeah, so not so bad. We're doing better than the guests at least.
Yeah. And in this crazy up and down the last couple of weeks, that's not terrible.
Yeah, I mean, this was definitely a week where there were some big positive catalysts, yet everything moved in the opposite direction. So a lot of people, they call it the buy the rumor, sell the news. I don't think that's the case here. I don't think, these were just short-term events. I just think the reaction to them, I guess, is rather lagging, and we'll see if next week turns green on it. But, usually, people, whatever, hate to talk about, manipulation. But, yeah, there is a thing as to, larger investors grabbing those liquidity spots after big events. And I think that's what happened with most of these. Or some folks maybe had unrealistic expectations, and when they don't pump to that level, they just sell off and say, oh, I'll wait for the next time. So I don't think anything bad came out of these. NVIDIA destroyed earnings, which is great for AI and great for Bitcoin and great for crypto in general. ETH ETFs were approved, which, is probably going to give them a pump at some point, just like it did for Bitcoin. And everything else, is just kind of chopping sideways and downwards. So we're waiting on the green.
Okay. So what'd you pick this week?
So this week I went with an oracle, but it is not Chainlink. And for those who don't know what an oracle is, it's an on-chain way to contact sources of data that are verifiable and can basically provide you, let's say, outer world info to your smart contract. So if you want to know who won the hockey game last night, or you want to know, the price of a token, things like this, your contract so your contract can read that and use that information. That's essentially what an oracle is. Chainlink is by far the most popular, the market share leader, but I've picked one who I think is kind of in that number 3 to 5 range, which is Pyth Network. It looks like Python, but it's not. It's so that's what they do. They're another oracle. They compete with Chainlink on that front. They try to, I guess, beat them by being a little bit cheaper and trying to be a little bit faster, but they obviously don't have the brand and name recognition. But they are fairly large. I think they're definitely in the top 50 or 100 tokens out there, I think. So they've been beat down for a month now. And I think they're on the verge of having a recovery. So we'll see if it happens in the next 6 weeks.
Okay. Just so everybody listening knows, V and I do not confer until the last minute what our picks are going to be. So my pick is Chainlink. I actually picked that. So that's really funny. And I was going to explain what Chainlink does, but V already did that for me. But I just picked it because I think because of the Ethereum ETF approvals that they really are a proponent of, just bringing together, blockchain and real world assets. And so I think that they're going to be needed a lot. I think you're going to see increased tokenization of all kinds of different assets, not just these ETFs. And I just think that it's going to help expand the market. And so I just picked it. I just thought it was going to do really well. And so
that is quite a coincidence. We both picked oracles, but
I know.
But Chainlink, to be fair, offers a lot more than their oracle, right? So a lot of their services are under the radar unless you use it, but they do proof of reserves, meaning let's say there's a stable coin that says, we have this all backed, to $1. They actually have ways to verify that stuff is legitimate. They can do stuff with real world assets through their oracle. They got most popular for their random number generation, right? So any crypto casinos that actually do it fairly and use a VRF, this would be the main one they've used, even for NFT mints and different things with anything random. So I think there's a lot to your pick, so it's a good pick. I just don't know if they're going to move that quickly in a couple of weeks, but we shall see.
We'll see. And, they also partnered with Swift. So I think that could be interesting, as it grows. And so right now on Ethereum, it's at $17.175. So we'll see if it does well in the next 6 weeks.
Well, it was above 20 like just a few weeks ago when they had some news. So
okay.
All right. That's it for me. I will return you to
your
your regularly scheduled Smiley.
Okay, thank you.
Goodbye.
Okay, monsters, thank you so much for your patience. While we were watching Token Tingles, I went and finally grabbed the slide for Monstro Moolah Madness. So now I can tell you, this last payday, we made $30,928, which went out to 1,046 recipients. And holders get about 90% of that. Only 9% goes to the treasury. Now, if you're holding the Genesis NFT, you got 1.28% and you've ROI'd once. So this is free money. Seriously, you've already got your return on your investment. Same with Cycle B. Cycle C and Spooky got 1.28% and they're about 83% to date. Cycle D got 1.30% and Cycle E got 1.28%. And then if you hold a DGens Phase 2 and a Games NFT, you earned $1.60 USDC per unit. And that's just dropped to your wallet every single Wednesday for holding the NFTs. Kind of income, one that's really easy and they do all the work for you and there's no gas fees either. So I wanted to talk a little bit about Phygital and what that is. Let's get Phygital this week. Okay, so this is actually an interesting concept. Okay, it's the blend of physical and digital, but it's not just NFTs. any experience can bridge that gap between virtual and reality. Okay. So, for example, so Nike, and I'm sorry I cannot show you the actual brands because they're brands, I'll get into trouble. But Nike did something interesting. They launched Swoosh. So, Swoosh, a Web3 enabled platform, and this designed this digital community for athletes and Nike consumers. So when you enter into the platform, you can connect with each other. You can buy virtual products, and then they have different immersive experiences. Like you can collect virtual footwear and apparel to wear on the platform, but then you also can get access to real products or events. So then in December of 2021, they acquired RTFKT. This is a digital creator of virtual sneakers and collectibles and accessories. They had previously released this virtual sneaker collaboration with crypto artist Ferocious. I can't say that. Ferocious, that sold out in under 7 minutes. Okay, and then they released Crypto Kicks. So instead of being worn in the real world, these sneakers are NFTs in the metaverse. And so you can have your avatar wear these shoes, and they're a blend of digital and then physical sneaker technology. So this is kind of wild. Listen to this. They feature auto lacing, enhanced lighting, haptic feedback, gesture control, walk detection. Boy, my tongue today. App connectivity, AI ML algorithms, and wireless charging. Okay, so that's kind of wild. So these were sold as NFTs, and then you can also redeem the NFT for, you can get the physical counterpart, which is called forging. Okay, so that's kind of interesting, but Nike's not the only ones who went phygital. Dolce and Gabbana, they created an entire NFT community in collaboration with UNXD. So they wanted to set this whole digital luxury culture community. It's a whole ecosystem over there. And so what you can do is upon entering, you get limited edition digital wearables, but also you get access to physical products. So there's also different events that they have, and it's a way that they can promote their brand, and they unite people through shared interests, shared passions. You might be interested in haute couture, but you're also interested in Web3. Louis Vuitton created an NFT linked varsity jacket. Okay. And this is interesting because it's not just a real world jacket. It has like suede buckskin and iridescent snaps and an embroidered Louis Vuitton logo, but also you can buy the digital collectible NFT. And if you own the NFT, you also get the digital version, and you can put that on your avatar too. It's just a fun, creative way that people are kind of marrying real world items with digital, and especially the metaverse, that whole push for the metaverse. Gucci launched a collection of NFTs, Yves Saint Laurent around its beauty line. Prada does these ongoing time capsule NFTs that you can mint monthly. Even Tiffany did this whole high profile collab with CryptoPunks. So that's one way that the world's going phygital. Now, another way that this has been happening is a convergence of physical and digital art, which is interesting. So in 2024, this year, there is the AKNEYE Phygital Space at the Venice Art Biennial. Okay, so this is a project that is an immersive space. So they bring sculpture within the digital dimension of NFTs. Okay, so you have all these artists that have created these stop motions and different LED screen pictures. So you step into the gallery and it feels like the walls are breathing and secrets are being whispered. It's a whole immersive experience. So that's something interesting, that just taking art into a more from physical to like a digital realm. And they do things like these 10,000 hand-painted A4 sheets. They're covered in colorful dots and they resemble paper money, but then they have holographic images and signatures and messages incorporated into what looks like some money. And each hand-painted sheet then corresponds to an NFT. So you can acquire the NFT and then you can decide whether you want the digital or the physical version, and whatever you choose, the other version gets destroyed. So that's kind of interesting. Another way that you can get Phygital is with community. So one way is the Surge Passport NFT, which has been empowering women in Web3. So this is 5,000 hand-drawn NFTs that were generated through an art algorithm. And by owning one of them, not only do you get a pretty NFT, but you also get all kinds of opportunities that are provided by different top Web3 organizations. There's courses, scholarships, financial mentorships, discounts to crypto platforms, all kinds of things. So you log into your dashboard and then you can claim your benefits across different seasons. And there's exclusive perks for women within the community. And one of the reasons why this is important is it's providing accessibility and inclusivity and education, one of my biggest passions, to people who might be unreached. We've talked about this before in previous episodes. People can now participate in this entire decentralization revolution. It's not just about owning an NFT that looks cool, but now you're gaining access to a network that supports you, to education, to opportunities that you might not have had access to before. And all you might need is just a mobile phone and access to crypto so you can buy an NFT. So I love that. I love how this combines the physical and the digital, and it just opens up a whole world to people that you might not have even thought of before. And so today I am especially excited to chat with Val. Hey monsters, I am so excited to introduce our special guest this week, the incredible Val of Sad Girls Art. And she is not just an artist, she is the visionary founder of Strategic Art and Design, or Sad Girls Art, and she leads a talented team of artists and digital multimedia marketers, and she drives innovation and creativity in the entire Web3 industry. And she has an amazing portfolio. She is the genius behind the innovative bedtime NFTs and the nostalgic NAR AF arcades. And also with the bedtime NFTs, they have companions, they have layering, and she spent a lot of time on these assets. And I think that's something that you look at it and you're like, oh, that's so cool. But I don't know if you're really realizing how much work goes into it. She spends a lot of time on the detail and the layering about every single piece. There's on the NAR AF arcade, there's over 50 different screens, and that's just amazing to me. And then she's also created Stuffy Bunny. This is 3,000 generative works and 100 unique one-ones that have been reclaimed and revitalized, and the whole collection is totally sold out. So that's amazing. Congratulations. And Val's been drawing since she's young and worked in a lot of variety, everything from pencils to acrylics, oils, tattoos, NFTs, ordinals, and even more. And so everybody in the chat, throw, a shout out for Val and let her know what catches your eye. This is one of my very favorites. I love this one, so I had to show this. Yeah, the detail and the colors on this is amazing. So welcome, Val.
Well, oh, thank you. Yeah, I love the little pun there with the eye at the end. That was perfect.
Thanks. So I always like to start with a game with my special guests. Are you up for a game?
Yes. Let's
Okay.
do it.
Cool. And it's just a word association game. And so I'll throw out a word and then you just tell me the first word that comes to mind and don't overthink it. Okay?
Sure thing.
Okay. The first word is palette.
Color.
Valor.
Stolen.
Ooh, interesting. Divergent.
Neurodivergent.
Nice. Chrysalis.
Zerg.
Oh my gosh, that's the best answer ever. How about bunny?
Stuffy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Resilience.
Ooh. Wow.
Okay, those could be your answers if you want.
Okay. Yeah. Mhm.
How about NFT?
Art.
Cool. Expression.
Also art.
Okay. What about identity?
Crisis.
Oh, I hear you on that one. And then the last one is sculpture.
Clay.
Okay, that's interesting. Have you actually ever done sculpture with clay?
Once upon a time, I did enjoy taking art classes and stuff through school, but then we live here in Washington, and one of the beaches, Owens Beach up here, has a lot of clay deposits. So it was some place we would frequent a lot and kind of carve things into the clay walls. There's these massive clay walls down the beach that people carve stuff into, and between like some different stuff with pottery and sculpting here and that, I'd say more in nature, because I loved to leave art almost temporary or somewhere that it's not guaranteed to last.
Well, that's an interesting thought. So let me ask you, when you're creating your art, is there a specific reaction you're looking for from the person who sees it?
Sometimes, there's some things that are a little more out there, like inspire some thought. But like I tend to try and like just get a good wow, some appreciation. I try to keep things a little wild, little wonky. I had this old collection that was kind of one of the first little offshoots I was doing as an artist to kind of lock in an idea, and I call it Knife Play, and it's a series kind of like what those Nars Fuck Arcades, or Naria, sorry, the Naria arcades. That's kind of the terminology behind it. It's a whole 90s aesthetic thing, but like with the arcade art, there's just so much different types of art out there, a lot of PFP art, and I wanted it to be something that kind of gave different layers of art to it. So like with the Knife Play, I have butcher knives. So the knife itself is the art, but then within the knife blade are pinup model faces. So it's
wow.
kind of a dual layer, very like thought-provoking.
Oh, I love that. That's interesting. So I was just looking at all the pieces that you've shared with me. If I can share some of these, you started out when you were really young, like a teenager, drawing things like this and this. I mean, I'm like, this is extremely talented for a teenager. Did you just doodle? Did you take lessons? How did this start?
So part of it was like a little bit of just that disassociative zoning out nature, very undiagnosed neurodivergent traits and stuff. So I just draw on a lot of things when my mind was just kind of drawn away from whatever was at hand. And what was funny was that I did take some classes during that time, almost because it was easy. It's like a skill that I had. So it was like, well, here's a class I can pass. So I tend to use a lot of books like this. And kind of a little fun little double entendre here now is that this is my tablet.
Oh, very cool.
So it's like I kind of go full circle with that. So like drawing was just something that was just always something I could do at any moment, have like a notebook with me, a pen, and draw on something. So
do you still approach art the same way? Do you start with a sketch on paper or in your pad, or how does it develop for you?
So sometimes I could just be sitting here doing some random stuff, chilling at home, and I will kind of hop up, like get this funny idea in my head, and I just sort of hop up like, I need to get this down. So I'll go and sometimes just sketch it out on something really quick just to make sure that I don't lose the idea. And then I'll like build off of that. So I usually tend to sketch really rough things first and then refine them, or even through my artistic process. You know, I like to build a base, kind of go through a lot of the functions of building a piece of art and framing it out. So I'll kind of like put the lines down that just give me the general idea of where it's at, and then dial that in over time. But before, I tended to not do that. I tended to just use ink because that was what was available to me. So whenever I had a mistake, I just incorporate it.
Oh, I see. So let me throw these up because these are fascinating. This is an NFT series that you're working on. So would this demonstrate the process that you're going to go through, that you're throwing down lines at first and then filling it in?
And oftentimes, you know, like this, it's more direct, right? Like I have something in mind, so I can kind of, you know, shoot for an idea with the silhouette and then, you know, dial it in more. But when these brain blasts come, you know, with that tattooing background, it kind of falls into that, where if anybody's familiar with like flash art, I tend to try to get these ideas down on one sheet of, you know, I just have like a scribble sheet, and I kind of like have little patchwork art pieces all over it that are just little brain blasts that I wanted to get down, which is kind of like my more every day-to-day art and ideas. But for this one, it was an approach that the customer wanted. So just going through, you know, the mechanics of how I produce it, you know, I'll kind of, I had to get over that thought as a young artist of getting the first lines right every time. You know, you just want that to draw your thing and draw it, and it's great. And I had to kind of get over that in my head of just having it perfect, right? So it's just like I had to kind of build it and build on it. You know, I didn't want to use the steps that were there, but, you know, as I matured, got over certain aspects of what was my style, I was able to just kind of utilize the tools properly.
Well, this is amazing because if you're going from this and then you're layering and then you've got the body, but then you're throwing extra on it. I love this. This is phenomenal. The clothes has movement to it and shading and textures and just that process. I don't think people realize. I think they think that that's what came out from the beginning. You just drew it and colored it in and there's an NFT.
And what's funny is I often will find this where like that final, what looks like the final piece there with the suit looks amazing, right? Most people are like, I love it, it's great. That's actually not even finished. It goes into higher detail than that with pinstriping in the suit and some different color variants. But yeah, this is oddly enough, some people don't believe it, but it's like that's still unfinished.
Wow, this is phenomenal. Here's another series that I was just blown away. Okay, so what are you doing here? Are you on like a light tablet?
So that is my iPad Pro. I use an iPad Pro M1, like 13-inch. I have used some art pads in the past, but I find with the, you know, just the versatility of what Apple has in the Apple Pen, that's my favorite.
Okay. Because then I can see as you're adding the detail, this is just incredible as it is, but then you just keep adding to it and it just gets more and more layered. And then the color comes. And then this one this is jaw dropping to me. The light and the colors. And this is an NFT too, right?
That's something that's being that I built for ordinals of my these were going to be my first ordinals drop. Gamma.io had actually been following me and seeing what I was doing online and how I'd been progressing, and they actually reached out to curate a project. So I started working on that one, and am, you know, pretty busy as is, and there's no real timetable, so it's still been in construction for that series. And kind of ended up busy on another ordinals beforehand. So it was interesting to have like that been my first series towards ordinals, but will probably be my second or third.
Oh, wow. Now, I've seen some ordinals I can't share with everyone, but I've seen some of your work, just phenomenal with the shading and the colors and the highlights. And just if I can share too, are these NFTs that you've done with your own work with Sad Girls Art?
So here is a piece that kind of like one of those brain blasts that I had. I am a big fan of old school anime, like late
Mm-hmm.
80s, 90s anime. And I was inspired by this piece that was a reflection of a cyborg was getting their face kind of exploded and reflected in a broken mirror where it kind of like changed the overall aesthetic. So I started playing with the idea of just these kind of like solemn, strong women in a shattered mirror. And so I kind of went through one of these brain blasts last night, utilizing a bit of hybridized art with AI to kind of create this thing that was playing out in my head. So
Mm-hmm.
as far as Sad Girl's art, it is a possibility for some stuff that'll release in different art pieces, but maybe not necessarily an NFT.
Okay.
Those ones are more expressive for me.
Oh, I just love them. I love this whole series of the cyborg girls. They're just so cool. I would totally cosplay these. I mean, the makeup would be kind of challenging, but just the look is just phenomenal. Are you going to put these into something special? Like a collection or?
Definitely. And see, the prior image kind of plays into these a little bit, but in a different aspect, with like the mirror. But this is
Oh,
more
okay.
of a again, one of those little brain blasts. There's a lot of art that I tend to produce that doesn't really see the light of day in a way, where I kind of create these ideas towards something that could possibly be, but I might not have the energy or full desire to do something with it yet. But these ones kind of draw back to that love of old animes and just the idea that we're moving towards all these crazy tech things right now, and how that really excites me is just this idea of a more cybernetic future. Some people don't like it, some people like it, and I tend to really enjoy that idea. But kind of wanted to create just an artistic idea of these really cool, like badass cyborg chicks, something akin to Ghost in the Shell, something like in that era of Cowboy Bebop animes, Neon Genesis Evangelion. And so then this whole, the art kind of comes to me, and then a story can rise behind it. So this one kind of took me by storm, talking with another really big art fan. And I was showing them these, excuse me. And then they kind of like asked the questions I wasn't asking myself, like, what would you want to do with these? And then I just started thinking, it's like, I had to stop thinking things were so unreachable because I've already achieved so much with my art. So I never really put much thought into creating something bigger than what I have here. So the idea of an anime came along, or a manga or something of that design, right? And I never thought like, oh, I could do that. And then it's like, wait a minute, this universe started to rise in my head of what these, cool squad of like cyborg chicks could be. And so now there's like a whole universe built behind the possibility of this being an animated series with a whole storyline. And so from conception, it's just kind of like an idea to a possibility to now it's just let's see what happens.
Sounds good. This is my very favorite. I have to show this one. I adore this one. I totally want to be her. I saw this
I'm
one.
actually wearing that.
Oh, really? Oh, I love it. Oh, you sell your merch? Ooh.
Yes.
Okay, then I definitely need to run right now. This is your website, and this is your X handle. And could you tell us a little bit about what we could find on both of those?
Yeah. So right now the actual website has a bit of a placeholder up. It was an idea that the developer was working on it. She's an amazing person. She kind of jumped on it without too much direction. She was just so excited. So we have like a bit of a placeholder up right now that kind of just showcases a lot of art for the time being, but it'll be republished here tomorrow night to have a full gallery. You can see all kinds of works that we've done, whether it's NFTs or branding material for businesses. We have some daycare clients that I have us starting a coloring book for them. So there might be some teasers with some of that coming, but you'll be able to see the full gamut of what we offer, our services, and a nice booking system and reviews from prior clients. Just a design team, like a source that you could book all your services for web creation and media.
Oh, that's great, because I love how I was learning more about you in the bio that you handle everything with branding. Is that right? So you're not just an artist, you're a complete marketing branding company. Is that true?
Yes. So
Okay.
yeah, we started around the end of last year, and just going from freelance to knowing how much work was coming, and there's a lot of skilled people in this space. So using like the skill that I had in learning how to turn my stuff from freelance into professional freelance, I was able to kind of guide other artists through working with SAD, and kind of taking that pressure off of them to sell themselves and do all the administrative work. So I've been able to hire people that have strengths in different areas, like graphics designers, 2D animators, people that do solely front end, framing work and back end development work. So now we have a full team of about 7 people total that provide everything.
That sounds really challenging, to both being a manager as well as an artist at the same time. How do you balance your workload to manage a team as well as getting your own artwork out at the same time?
It's a long days. There's a lot of long hours, but in working for yourself, it's a lot more fulfilling. So there's often times I can work 12 to 16 hours a day, just trying to make sure that I'm available for different clients and people that need me. But generally, Discord makes it very easy to delegate these things, and I have employed project managers that really take a lot of the weight off of my back to kind of seeing this expansion coming. I knew I wasn't be too divided trying to provide art services while managing the company. So part of it was just being smart and employing the right people to help keep things smooth.
Nice. That sounds really smart, that you play to everyone's strengths on your team. And I think you probably are a better team for it because you recognize that. Do you have anyone new on your team that's just learning the business? Is this kind of like an internship option that you have too?
Yes, actually. So one of the services I offer, not really that it's been something that's been capitalized on much, is kind of training in different aspects of what we do, right? There's a lot of artists that might need a little bit of learning and skills and programs. So recently I hired, for instance, I recently hired a artist fresh out of design school, like fresh out of college. She's in her early 20s, did the whole administrative hiring process, which was a little weird for me, being like looking at her portfolio and kind of, really interviewing what she's about, and, seeing some of her strengths and some of her stuff that can be built on. And rather than being like, hey, you're not where I want you to be, it's let's get you caught up on some more of these other things, and kind of get her trained up on more digital aspects, and then really see how she goes. So between that and I've got a more veteran artist who just signed on for strategic art and design. His name's Hattie the Creator. He's done a lot of huge brands like Megadeth Digital. He did the Rattleheads, very iconic pieces with apocalyptic apes, and another NFT called Endangered NFT, which are like really beautiful, like gorillas. The man's an amazing artist and a really great friend. But even in some tiers, you got like your fresh out of design school and people that have a lot of years behind them. But even with someone like that, there's still opportunity for training. Even someone from me, right? Like me, there's still always opportunity for me to learn. So it's like where he had certain strengths, it's like, and I had certain strengths that he, didn't have time to build on. It's like I can bring those across and kind of share my expertise with him, and then vice versa with other things that he has more expertise in and show me. So there's always learning and always an ability to come to us to learn.
No, I love that. That's awesome. And can I ask you, there are so many varied opinions on AI and using it in art. And what is your opinion? Do you use AI in your art at all?
Actually, I have enjoyed using AI in my art more and more. I definitely was one of the kind of fighting into the night types where, you know, it first emerged, and I think I just saw, in my opinion, and you know, and that's where it all comes back to, is just like your different kind of egos as an artist and what you really is like your style and box you end up putting yourself into, which can be rough. And I'm sure not a lot of people will see it the same way, but many do. And I had to kind of get over the idea that AI was coming for us and that people were just going to learn AI, but it's really just another tool that any good artist should learn. You know, coming to digital for me felt different, where I did a lot of stuff on paper. You know, I did tattooing and inking, and I used light tables to create layers before I ever used digital. So AI to me is just like that next step, just another brush to add to my tools between digital and what's not digital. There's a lot of AI and tricks and aspects within digital that are taken for granted. So using AI is like just staying with the times to me. So I've found ways to hybridize my art with AI in different programs that allow you to put in your art or some kind of supplemental like art first, and then add filters and prompts. So I can put in like a base model, say like one of those goats, for instance. And if I just wanted to take the guessing work out of something, I can kind of put in my sketches, give it a prompt, and then it can give me a site model. Then I can kind of be like, okay, now I have some ideas towards detail layers, or I have some ideas towards that. And I can just use it as a site reference to then draw more. Or I could take that, photo edit the results, and make them nice and crisp and work, because there's always some flaw in AI. So having the skills behind it in art and different aspects of art allow me to make the AI better. So to kind of like bring that all full circle, what I like to say to people is there's a huge difference in what somebody who is good with AI and AI prompts can do versus somebody who's an artist and a graphic designer using AI and what they can do. So really it's just keeping up with the times and the different products at hand.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense to me, because I'm the type of person who just types in a prompt and says, that's not good. I don't know how to make it better. I'll just type in different words. That's my level of art. But I can see you're using it as a tool, is just enhancing your ability and experience that you already have and making your art better, which is amazing. I love it. So
Yeah, it comes in handy.
yeah, what are your long-term goals for Sad Girls Art and Stuffy Bunny?
So, you know, as far as long term, is just to be a viable source for people coming into their digital age, needing digital assets. You know, just to be a recognized, you know, respected brand that, you know, for the long term, I'd love to see more of the artists be free to create art under Sad Girls Art that we could release as art, while the business itself kind of keeps us afloat. So we're not trying to sell our art. But between that, I just want to keep it going into the future, maybe keep it as a production towards other projects like Stuffy Bunny. So Stuffy Bunny exists as its own brand, but in the way that I've built this company to fund it, it's being pulled as a production under Sad Girls Art. So it kind of gives us room to release things as, you know, productions of Sad Girls Art, strategic art and design, and just kind of like use that as our kind of home base to do what we want, whether we're just doing, you know, just doing services for people. If we start creating art vendor booths, which is probably one of the more near future goal, is create different art vendor booths that could exist at NFT events, local fairs, things like that. So to give us like, you know, a bigger reach as not just designers, but artists to just exist. And then Stuffy Bunny is back on track to kind of create, you know, part of the brand there, and it's a registered trademark, is to go into a book series with children's books. There was some collaborations with cartoons in the past, but the immediate goals are more the books, getting the stuffed animal lines, and then just kind of building off of that into, if it just keeps blossoming into book series, you know, possibly a cartoon. Try not to get too telescope vision with what could be before finishing the things at hand. So it's hopefully going to be more, you know, something that can be a cartoon that you see someday, some book series that you're getting at the Scholastic Book Fair for your kid.
Right. Do you find it's challenging, though, to take your art and create merchandise or a real world asset with it? How is that translated? Because we're finding that a challenge in Monstro. We have an amazing brand, an amazing look, but then actually finding, people to bring that into an actual item that's a physical item is a challenge. How did you create that and get that going?
It it's definitely a challenge. The actual creation is still being locked in because there are aspects, when you're doing this, you either have to buy like a bulk amount, like say 400 up front, and then you've got stock, right, that you now have to maintain and ship out on your own. So that's always a stressful matter to try and figure out whether we're going to do something that is pre-manufactured or, something that we can have out of our hands. But ideally, what I'd like to do is empower other small businesses. There's a lot of great sources out there that I have vetted out and have priced out for different plushies that would have to be more of a specific one-off that, I could start with a couple base models. What I'd really love to do is create more, personalized ones with the customs and some more, almost like a Build-A-Bear aspect to it, where you can maybe get some clothing and stuff for it. But I've been looking at a lot of small businesses that are more into those really nicely crocheted little critters, something akin to something like this. And so I'm looking into the idea of empowering other small business creators that might be able to keep up with something like a little workload like this and create something a little more authentic than just a mass manufactured like plushie toy.
Right, and that's so cute. See, it's my dream one day to have my own Smiley monster. So hopefully I can bring that to reality someday. So how do you stay motivated and inspired? I mean, you're really busy. You're working massive numbers of hours. How do you keep the creative juices flowing?
Oof. Well, I like to stay engaged. It's hard for a lot of people, being in the social media so long, it is very taxing, but that's just a big part of my job. But in doing so, I surround myself with a lot of creatives. All of us artists, the majority of us big artists in this space, we talk to each other, whether everybody sees it or, sees us in spaces together or not. Like founders, artists, we talk in the back channels. We sometimes hang out, bounce ideas off each other because there's really not many other people that we can or, relate with. I, hang out with all kinds of creatives and we'll just sort of be talking about our different things. And, those go down different little rabbit holes where, all of us are just kind of firing off the new ideas. So between just generally, other people and kind of bouncing creative ideas off of each other, that's like a big aspect to really kind of feed that flame. But other than that is just a very, lifelong active imagination. Just the ability of being an artist for so long. It's hard to describe how some things come. I wish I had some really cool like mastered thing that's just like I derive all these ideas from something, but they just random little thought things that are like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if this and then I draw it.
Yes, it's interesting because not being an artist myself, I look at all of your work and I'm so impressed and it's so cool. But for you, I know this from knowing some other artists, you're probably pretty critical of yourself and your own work. But can you share for me and everyone listening, is there a specific piece or a specific moment where you felt particularly proud of yourself? Like you felt you've created something that even you felt was really beautiful or especially creative?
Gosh, it hits me sometimes where it's like there's some pieces I've got here that have intimidated me for like a decade to finish. And then there's some pieces here, where gosh, it's so hard to describe or really think of any one piece because there's times where I feel like I make it look easy, right? Where if you saw the screen records of me working, you'd see me draw a simple line that anybody could just draw and not think about and move on. And I'm going to draw it, erase it, draw it, erase it, draw it, erase it till it hits just right. Instead of drawing the line and erasing around parts of it to kind of dial it in. It's like, no, it's got to be right in that stroke. So, you know, when something's really like frustrating me, I actually was having a bit of a hard time with that goat piece. I had been doing a bunch of iterations on different versions of other mascots beforehand, and it was like my inspiration pool just went just gone. So it's like I had this task at hand. I was a little burnt out from doing everything else, and I just was sitting there like nothing. You know, when something speaks to me, I see it and I'm just like, boom, I got this. I'm gonna draw. Ooh, I'm gonna draw this. And then it's like I'm doing like 12 things in an hour. And then some days I'm just sitting here like it's not there. I'm not feeling it. Like I'm not excited. But usually it's just not all the lines come together yet, right? So it's a hard thing to kind of trust the process and not overthink yourself. You know, as an artist, it's so hard, you know, like I said, with those critical little line changes. So, you know, almost any piece that I go into that isn't just like, you know, hitting on all those, firing on all those pistons right away, you know, and it struggles and I take a few days to do almost every piece, you know, like when it comes together just right, I dance a little, you know, it's just like, like I nailed it, like I'm good. But I continue to just impress myself, honestly. Getting into the space really helped me push my boundaries on what I thought I could do. So it's really hard to dial in any one piece. I just think the more I grow and the better I get every time, I'm just like, wow, like I did that.
Yeah, good for you. That's very awesome. I'm just very proud of you that you've made it to that point where you can feel that and you can internalize it and say, hey, yeah, you know, some days I struggle, but some days I'm awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you balance your personal and professional life too? Is that a challenge since your artwork is something that's part of you? It's not a job that you just walk away from and close the door. So how do you balance that?
It can be a little tricky because, you know, whether, you know, I have taken time off to relax and do stuff, it's there in my mind, you know, and I might be relaxing and then like one of these things, like boom, something cool. But to make sure that I relax, I kind of schedule time with, you know, with my partners, my family, who are all very busy. So, you know, I try to make a point now to take time off and just kind of remind myself everything's great. You know, I don't need to hop on something right now. So now I've just sort of given myself a better structure, you know, than I had before, and kind of stopped. What's the best way to put this? You know, like some people work under pressure and they tend to enjoy the kind of like stress of the pressure. I've learned to stop kind of ferreting over that time in between when I knew there was nothing pressing, but my mind's like, you should be working on something. I had to really turn that off after, you know, 3 years of being in Web3 and this fast paced stuff. I really just have to remember that normal people take time off of work. You know, normal people have business hours. So just because I'm accessible through these things, you know, I have to kind of remind myself, take some time off, or maybe work a little hard this week so I can just slack off next week. I have to be very cognizant of taking time off.
Good. I'm glad. And do you have any hobbies that you would like to share with us? Any special interests outside of art?
Outside of art, honestly, is something I hope to surprise this space with more and more is I create music. And not a lot of people have been privy to the fact that I create music and I create beats and electronic music. I sang in choir throughout school for like 6 years and generally enjoy music. And, you know, as an artist, it's just another expressive thing. There's many mediums that I like to do things in, but I'm not known for music. So I feel like if I were to start putting out music, it would just kind of blow people's minds.
You just blew mine. I didn't know.
Yeah. So that, and I freestyle sometimes.
Okay. Very cool. Well, I hope you continue to explore that, whether it's something you monetize or not. That's an interesting question. How do you know what art you want to create into an NFT or monetize, or what is just your own personal creation?
You know, that's a tough one. I think what helps me there is just knowing, because I can launch cool collections left and right. Doesn't mean I should. Sometimes I will create a collection of something just to sort of solidify the provenance of these things. But part of that's just kind of understanding, the follow through on certain things. Like I can release stuff for some art, which I do, like those eyes, for instance, is something that I released because I was so busy building stuff for other people. People would come to me like, what are you minting right now? And it's like, well, I'm not, but these people are that I've worked for, and I might not have equity in the mint. So, it's great to support everybody that I work with, but there really wasn't anything to kind of be like, go support me. So like with that, it was just something that I played with. It was a funny idea that I had and loved drawing art, eyes as an artist. And I think a lot of artists do kind of gravitate towards drawing eyes in some way. So I created this little PFP fun that was intended just to be that, just this cool, quirky PFP. And I always put in work to what I'm doing. And so this way, and it was pretty fun when I first hit the scene with it. People were wearing them, and it just looks like a bunch of disembodied eyes in a Twitter space. So that was just something that I could put out on Polygon and be like, if you'd like to support me and get a cool piece of PFP for it, no fluff, no, promises. It's just like, boom, there it is. You can support me. So people started doing that so much. I know I'm getting a lot off topic, but people started doing that so much that I started integrating a little bit of a reward. And so it was like people that held, at first it was 10, then I dropped it to 5 because there's so many people in communities that I've touched. It's kind of mean of me to limit it to say, oh, if you hold this, you can get 5, so I just did a general 5 holding of these. You can get a bit of a custom edit on something from me for a little extra fanfare, like a way to get something from me without feeling like you're hiring me, or maybe if you don't want to pay like a commission fee on something, like this way somebody could stack up a couple eyes over time and be like, hey, can you do this really cool edit for this? I've had people come to me to get personal pictures edited really cool. I've had people come to me to design skateboards for their children. It actually kind of blossomed into more, but so that's like one of those examples of something that I kind of put off as an artist. And I have a couple things that are like placeholders, but generally I just try not to create too much. There's already a lot to go with, so I want to make sure that what I create has something that I can follow through with. There's some kind of substance in a way where it's not like this artist just tossing out all kinds of lines hoping something will hit. It's just me creating art for art.
Okay, so let's say I am a brand new artist and I really wanting to get into NFTs or ordinals or Web3 design. What advice would you have for me?
I would say definitely study a lot of the tools at hand. I know it's rough for an artist to want to study a lot of things with coding and, certain things with marketing and whatnot, but really kind of study some of the tools that you might need so that when you do get someone to help you with it, you understand enough to know what they are, if that makes sense. Make sure that you know how to work a smart contract, get to learn a little bit more of that. Make sure you know how to, maybe set up spaces, set up some simple things like, gosh, sorry, I'm getting a little far off from like the simplicity of it. Really study different aspects of these things, not just releasing an art and minting it. Look at what people are kind of doing with like the waves of what's like hot right now and how people are minting stuff, and really research different platforms so that you're not left guessing later or asking others for help. Like it's good to know these things so that you can be a little more self-sufficient, and then bring in people that can help you based on the fact that you already know how to do it.
Right. Okay, that's good advice. You have to take that first step. You can't just show up and say, I'm an amazing artist, but I don't know anything because I didn't bother. So good advice.
It's a good way to fall into a trap with that. And honestly, that was kind of my introduction into crypto. And we can go down that story another time or later.
Okay. Well, my last question is, Various and I are participating in a token challenge, and we were wondering if you would like to participate. Do you want to choose a token that you think is going to do well in about the next 6 weeks or so?
Next 6 weeks. I'm not a big token follower, but if I had to choose one in the next 6 weeks, I'd probably just stick with Ethereum.
Oh, okay. That's awesome. You're the first person to choose that. Good for you. We'll see how it does. Hopefully, maybe you'll be at the top of the guest list.
Who knows?
I know. So thank you so much for chatting with me today. I've known you since before, but it has been a pleasure to get to know you better and to understand who you are, your team, the art that you can create, and just a little bit more about the whole Web3 art space. It seems a little, kind of vague. And so you've helped really show what it can encompass, what are the possibilities, and I really appreciate it. You're so fun to listen to. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Okay. Take care.
Have a good one.
And now it's time to share our monster of the week. Our monster of the week this week is Scallywag. We are so excited to have him as our monster of the week. He comes all the way from Norway. Scallywag brings a lot of fun, support, and vigilance to Monstro. See, for over a year and a half, he has been a steadfast member of our community. He is dedicated to just supporting everyone. He doesn't only possess an innate sense of mischief, but he's also this vigilant guardian. He's always keeping an eye out for any kind of exploits in the space, and he shares them in the server, and his contributions are beyond that. He's warm and welcome to newcomers. He offers assistance and guidance to those who are just trying to figure out what is yield farming, what is this NFT we offer, and he's just eager to share all kinds of exciting discoveries that he's found in the community, and it just keeps us all busy, engaged, and happy, and having a great time. So thank you so much. We appreciate you, Scallywag, Monster of the Week. So that's about it for me this week. I think I went a little bit long, but I loved everything Val had to say. I think it was important. I mean, we spend so much of our lives collecting objects, collecting experiences as well, and they all build our story. So imagine if your favorite, like, lucky coffee mug or your childhood rock collection could transcend just being on the shelf and become part of this entire digital interactive narrative. That's what Phygital's all about. It kind of blurs the lines between physical and digital, but it's not just slapping an NFT on a t-shirt. It's unlocking new possibilities, using a physical object as a key to unlock digital content, transforming art into an entire dynamic, evolving experience. I mean, the possibilities are endless. So I challenge you, what piece of the physical world holds a story that is totally begging to be told digitally? And how can you bridge that realm and create something truly unique, something truly phygital? Thanks for joining me today. I hope it just made your Monday a little bit brighter. I had a great time with you guys. This is my very last Monstro Mondays. Thank you for being an amazing community and joining me on this journey. I'm not leaving Monstro. No, 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 no. But I think we're going to be moving on to producing some very new and fun and different content, and we'll still be having our Token Tingles challenge. Thanks, guys. Have a great Monday. Bye.